Zeke can volunteer.
All right, we'll see if we can put something together for that. So we want to talk a little bit more about, for those of you who were here last month, like I said, I promise I won't rehash too much. But this is all kind of based out of the very vivid discussion we had in January about the help desk and the relationship between the help desk and the LSPs and how that all works. What that came down to was we came up with some initiatives that we'd like to see happen afterwards. The first is some help desk training on the LSP capabilities and needs. That actually is moving forward quite a bit. Zeke has been instrumental in that and put together some great stuff. Have you delivered that to the Presumptus folks yet?
We've shared it with Dave, and Dave is going to find a time in their training schedule where it fits best.
Great. And Zeke put together a great little package that explains what we do, kind of our capabilities, and it's going to be a really nice, it's going to kind of address some of the things we were thinking about there. The other process we were hoping for is some sort of a data exchange between the help desk and LSPs, so LSPs will know when the help desk is kind of guiding their users to make changes on their devices. Or their machines, their devices, that sort of thing. Well, in that process, we came up with, as people were looking around, and Chris and my hair were on fire when we were thinking about the idea of the help desk directing people to change things on our systems, we started thinking about the different models of how we manage our environments. And we have some very loosely managed environments, some very highly managed environments, some hybrid models. And so we also had a follow-up meeting with some of the folks who were really heavily involved in that discussion. And what it came down to is that there really seems to be a need for us to kind of come together around this idea of best practices and specifically the different modeled environments that we are in. In some senses, I think that we could be in an infinite number of types of environments, so when it comes to level of security and desktop management and just managed environments in general. But then there's also kind of a sense that once we get together and start talking about this, we're going to find that we actually have some real commonalities, and we might be able to build that down to a few kind of templates. That certainly is going to have some value not only to us individually by kind of clarifying what we're doing ourselves, but also to the community. We've got new LSPs coming in that might be really nice for them to kind of get a sense. So it's clear to me that I'm in kind of a low managed environment. What are other people who are in this type of environment doing? And so the idea here was to get together and define some model profiles for the different environments. Kind of just at a first whack, we would assume that there's probably some highly secure, highly managed environments. Madison Hall and Uvimco have been the ones that have been suggested for that. I don't really know if we're the only ones in that little area. Moderately secure, somewhat managed, as well as low security and non-managed environments. So the idea is to kind of come together as a community, help define these models, figure out where people fit. This would be helpful to the help desk. This would be helpful to ITS. It would also be helpful to the community, as I said. Define some best practice for these models, make some recommendations. We also feel like if this document gets put together and delivered to ITS, they may be able to help us with this data exchange issue that we're thinking of.
And Karen might know more. Have you guys talked to the IS Pro office at all? I mean, some of this really is not ITS; it's more of their area.
That's correct, and we actually did meet with both Marty and Brian regarding this. They were doing cartwheels around the conference room table because there's some on the security level specifically. There's some real value for them to know what people are doing, and then they can actually help us define those. So.
The other comment from ISPRO was, in their world, they're dealing a lot with policies and best practices. And then this is a tool that the community can put together to leverage best practices and create a standard within the community. But it's much more well, Mark's rubber hits the road. It's very practical.
Yeah.
So it's a nice bridge to partner
I
with
just had,
ISPRO.
I wanted to make sure that you got, it was the communication there. It sounds like
We
you're
have a
already there.
conversation.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, the thing is, I think one of the reasons this has not, you know, there was some feeling that, you know, after January and after this initial meeting, man, we'd be just jumping into this. Well, we're getting on April, and it still hasn't moved too much farther. And I think part of it's because behind the scenes, we've been trying to kind of pull all these different pieces together because it's going to be a fairly large effort. So there's a couple things that, you know, we would want here. We're going to try to start kicking this off in April. And essentially, it's going to come down to needing some help from the community to do it.